following podcast has been paid for by Big Daddy Munroe's Customs.
238 pounds in the black corner. From St. Louis,
Here comes Mr. Crow.
Andre the Giant.
Gonna get his licks in on the bruiser. Hulk Hogan.
Number one, the greatest WWE champion of all time, and in many ways, the man who made the title what it is today, Bruno Sammartino.
his opponent weighing 236 pounds in the white corner. From Van Nuys, California.
Welcome in to a very special edition of Figuring It Out. As always, I am David Chandler, alongside my partner, my tag team partner in this awesome figuring podcast. We talk wrestling figures. We talk other kind of figures. Jerry Munroe, man, last week, the last time we talked some weird custom figures, but this week we have some great wrestling figures. We're going to be talking about a custom Bill Eadie, a Warrior one, and an Eddie Guerrero, which I showed a couple of my buddies the pictures of the custom that you made. Man, it's really good. But the first one I want to talk about tonight is this. I mean, folks, this gets weirder and weirder. A Jeffrey Dahmer custom. Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, if you don't know who he is, Jeffrey Dahmer, you know, the guy who killed all these people. I don't know the whole backstory because it's, you know, I just try not to remember all that stuff. But go into how someone approaches you and says, hey, I want a Jeffrey Dahmer custom figure.
Well, as crazy as it sounds, I suggested it.
Oh, God. You suggested a Jeffrey Dahmer. Wow. I mean, I don't judge. I'm not here to judge, but you suggested someone. Did this person have a fascination about Jeffrey Dahmer, or was it something that you said, hey, this would be great in your collection?
It's a police officer friend.
Folks, police officers, you know, I mean, they're getting a bad rap recently with everything that's going on. You know, we're not going to talk about it. It's not a political show, and don't judge a cop by the cover, as they would say, just because he wants customized serial killer and Jeffrey Dahmer figures. Don't judge him. His identity will never be revealed. So we'll just talk about it. Your police officer client once again is astonishing me. He wants a Jeffrey Dahmer, or you suggested a Jeffrey Dahmer custom figure.
Yeah, he wants one, and we've been talking about it for a while. And I said, you know, maybe it's time we bust out the Dahmer custom. And he said, yeah, that'd be great. So, like I said, you know me, I do a lot of research and stuff, and he wanted me to do a Dahmer, of course, but with a little bit of touch of the crime scene, similar to the Ed Gein custom I did, you know. So I told him, okay, I can do that. And, you know, we've been going on talking about sharing ideas and things like that. Basically me telling him what I think would be cool. And I know it sounds wrong to say cool, but there's a lot that goes into it, and it's, you know, intriguing. And yes, I've watched movies after movies, documentaries, you know, ever since I started, doing the customs like these. But yeah, I figured he'd be one to add to his collection, and he agreed.
And how much painstaking detail did you put in? I mean, he did you?
I'm actually still working on it. It's going to take quite a long time.
And as you know, he killed many people. I mean, was there, you know, for people who don't remember Jeffrey Dahmer, I mean, was there one specific crime scene, or was it like one air? Because, you know, there's mass killings, people kill people at different places. I mean, was there one place, or did he just kill in one place that said, hey, you know, this is going to be a great scene for my custom?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, he would keep heads and things like that from his victims. Made a crazy altar with like their heads, skulls, completely skinless, down to the bone. And he would paint them. Talking about that's kind of weird. That's kind of strange. But as far as the crime scene goes, it's from the actual police officer that came there. It's kind of crazy how that even came into play because um, he'd been I guess you could say he's killed people before, and he'd been trying to somehow turn him into a zombie, I guess you can say, like a zombie state of mind where they would be alive and he can do his his weirdo stuff. And in the very last situation, get this, he got this guy, this young black guy. He befriended and stuff, and he brought him home. I guess they had been drinking and things like that. Well, he tried to hit him in the head, and like the kid, I mean, knocked him out, but the kid he was like 14 years old. Yeah, and he got out. Well, Dahmer had him all stripped down the whole 9 yards, and he ran out of the place. Of course, I would if I was in that type of situation. And, I'd be like, I'm out of here, boys. I was slinging in the wind, baby.
I wouldn't have stuck. I would not have stuck around.
They call me the street. But yeah, not to make light of it because it's horrible. The neighbors evidently had called the police about a disturbance in this naked man that's outside. He must have looked a lot older than his age. Well, the police came there, and Dahmer comes outside and tells the police that they had some kind of lovers quarrel, and he'd been drinking and stuff like that, and it's like all over now, and they'll bring him back inside. Well, the police officer actually allowed him to take the guy back in there, and he just he killed him, right there, and that's how he got caught. They came back, the neighbors noticed a smell, and next thing you know, they got him.
I mean, it is kind of sad that it took that person to get killed for him to get caught. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like anything in life is like, hey, it could have gone 100 different ways. But how long do you think it's going to take to make this Jeffrey Dahmer? I mean, all your figures don't. Do you think all your figures take about the same amount of time, or it just depends on what type of figure you're customizing?
Oh, these type,
Mm-hmm.
especially adding like parts of us. I got to make a refrigerator. Like the police officer when he found the crime scene, evidently guy was a neat freak. He kept a clean place, and they searched the house. Everything seemingly was fine, except for the weirdo altar and things like that. But what he first noticed, even prior to that, was when they opened up the refrigerator. Clean as a whistle. You got your condiments, ketchup, mustard, stuff like that, and a head. A head with his mouth open and eyes open too. Talk about creepy.
Yeah, ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard, and a head. That's just really.
Like the guy's like mouth open, like a little.
Are you gonna put that kind of detail into it?
Yeah.
I would see that would take a while to perfect. I mean, what size? I mean, well, of course you're not gonna make a big fridge, but I mean, like, how tall is this Jeffrey Dahmer gonna be?
6 to 7 inches tall, just action figure style size. And I got to make the refrigerator, all handmade and things like that, painted. We're talking extreme detail, so I couldn't tell you because I've never made it before.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time to do that. Plus, with the materials I use, it takes them a while to cure and things like that. So I can work on other orders while it's curing, just keep the cycle going.
Yeah. I mean, keeping the cycle going. The next one we're going to be talking about, you were working on a Bill Eadie figure. Tell me
Pardon?
about that. Bill Eadie figure.
No, it's not. It's not Bill. It's Eddie Guerrero, Mexican wrestler guy. He's pretty awesome. Back in the NBA, did WWF and stuff. Would you like to take a sneak peek?
Yes.
Would you love to? Yeah. This is him.
Oh, that is perfect detail. Perfect detail. I mean, tell everybody. I mean, how painstaking was that to make that? I mean, I showed a picture of the custom Eddie to someone, and they were like, "Holy crap! It looks just like him."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's important to make sure you get all the, characteristics, body shape, and things like that, and kind of have their little touch, kind of feel to them. But yeah, it took a good while.
And I know you're working on some more Warriors. Tell me about those.
Well, they're actually primed right now. I'm working on 3 Ultimate Warriors with 3 different hairstyles, same basic pose my customer wanted, and different paint jobs, of course. But they're all primed right now. I just got them waiting for the 3rd one that I popped out to completely cure, because you don't want to mess with them until they're cured.
And I mean, how long does it normally take to cure a figure?
With just the prime, like it's a prime, I'd say it can be 2 hours to 48 hours. It just depends on the prime that you use.
I mean,
I do an undercoat of acrylic before I even do the prime, and then after you prime it, you paint it, and then you seal it, and it's done.
Yeah, I mean, you stay up many late nights working on these things. Any other customs that you've been working on recently?
Those have been pretty much the only ones, as far as the past week, 2 weeks maybe. But yeah, like I said, it takes a while, and you got to hop from one to the other, and just to kind of save time. Because if I try to work it, one at a time,
it would yeah. I mean, are there any customs that are coming up soon that you've been asked to put together? I mean,
we've got quite a lot to. Let's see, some like standout style. There's old school wrestler figures, that I'm working on, AWA and stuff like that. I'm talking old style. But yeah, like working on a set of Road Warriors as well, and I'm gonna make the shoulder pads and all that, and make them where you take them off, put them back on, stuff like that, mold them to where they're all solid. So, it's pine. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, especially to make those accessories, I'm sure that is a totally separate, animal in itself, making accessories for these different figures, I would assume, correct?
Yeah, it's pretty tough, but I do it anyway.
No, I mean, I totally understand that. I mean, and it's funny, we've been getting a lot of great feedback and a lot of great likes on the Facebook page for Big Daddy Munroe's Customs. You can just click on the link at the bottom of the show notes. I mean, it's a great archive of your work so far. I mean, and you could just lose yourself on that Facebook page. I mean, there's just so many pictures. And we're hoping to add some more and some other customs. But yeah, custom figures. I was talking on another show that I did recently, a collector's corner, as I call it. Mm-hmm. They were talking LJNs, and they just to be honest with you, the only customizer that they could even talk about or praise was you, Jerry. So, you've hit the nerve of the wrestling fan in a good way down in Australia, and you're great at what you do, and it's always fun to talk about the weird customs. I don't even want to know what the next weird custom are there any other weird customs that the fans should be looking for that we could be talking about coming down the pike, or is that something that you cannot reveal right now?
There's some that I choose not to reveal, I guess you can say. I've done some really crazy customs, and I say crazy as far as like things that I don't particularly agree with, but you gotta feed the babies,
Yeah, and you gotta feed your babies, and you gotta feed yourself. So I'm just like,
yeah, there's a few of them, but like I said, with each custom, you gain experience. So if you don't broaden, you really don't learn, and that's my thing. I really enjoy learning, and it's important to try to learn something every day.
Yeah, I mean those are wise words. I mean, you definitely want to, if someone gets into customs, I mean, it's definitely, look at Jerry's work, but Jerry, it's always fun to talk customs, and I cannot wait to the next time when we can talk even weirder customs. I don't know how it could get any weirder than Jeffrey Dahmer, but I guess it could.
Yeah,
but
that's mind scrambling, crazy, weird there. But yeah, there's a lot to it. I mean, there's I don't know if I could use the word audience, but everybody likes such a variety of things. You know what I mean? And it's refreshing. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoy doing wrestling figures and things like that, but it is refreshing to change it up, so to speak.
Yep.
You sit there 12, 16 hours a day doing the same type customs over and over, and finally you got something different, and it's like, wow, okay, cool.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it couldn't, I mean, I could understand how it could get monotonous and boring if you're just doing wrestling figures, and it's just, there are not a lot of guys who do those kind of customs, and some people just stick to wrestling figures, but you do not discriminate. You do anything. I mean, if it's something that you can do, you will do it. Correct?
That's absolutely the truth, right?
That is definitely the truth. But Jerry Munroe, man, next time I cannot wait. But it's always a pleasure to talk with you.
I'm glad to be here, brother. I appreciate it.
£38 in the black corner from St. Louis,
Here comes Mr. Pro.
Andre the Giant.
Gonna get his licks in on the bruiser. Hulk Hogan.
Number one, the greatest WWE champion of all time, and in many ways, the man who made the title what it is today, Bruno Sammartino.
His opponent weighing 236 pounds in the white corner from Van Nuys, California.
The preceding podcast has been paid for by Big Daddy Munroe's Customs.